before I answer the other questions, what high school did you go to?
I actually went to San Marino High School.
We had a major rivalry with San Marino. It wasn't a sports rivalry. It was like a party rivalry.
Oh my goodness. My mom's watching. I didn't party in high school, Mom.
Welcome to Salon series, where Elena Frampton lets us eavesdrop in on conversations with leading creatives.
The first time I ever saw one of my pieces in situ was on your Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen where my pieces end up before.
That space actually has a 20-foot sequin curtain draping the windows. And so the combination of your light with this couture textile is otherworldly.
Amazing. I find it interesting that as an artist, I make all these things. There's always somebody between me and the people that buy the things, but I actually never meet them. So then me and the end user are the two people that have like this strange connection, but we never meet each other. I feel like there's something connecting us, right? They felt something and I should talk to them.
But such a process from conception to creation to promotion. I mean, that's what keeps me so energized about all of this, is that each step is really interesting and complicated. A few years ago in New York City, I was walking the fair, checking out the booths, and I came across this incredible light fixture. In the booth, it was sort of mounted lower, so you could really be at one with this light. And I couldn't go to sleep that night because I was so enamored by this light fixture.
That really started with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The feeling of Vernus is supposed to be the first bloom of spring after the long winter. So Vernus really represents hope. That hopeful feeling to me is exactly what you see. It's a crystalline floral bouquet hanging from the sky. That feeling of not just hope, but hope fulfilled is something that I think we all have experienced and can relate to. And I would hope that my works, bring people to the place where they tap into those universal feelings.
I'd love to hear about the design process for that work, but also how it relates to your process. Are you an artist? Are you a designer? How does that all come together? Are you both?
When I first started thinking about myself from the perspective of a designer or an artist with design as my medium, one of the things that I came to really early on was that at any given moment, if I design and I create from a place of intuition, then whatever I'm creating is going to be the current amalgamation of all of my experiences that led up to that point. Growing up in California, skateboarding, fantasy, sci-fi, they all influence like every single piece that I make. This chandelier actually became this contemporary art piece that was influenced by everything from Finnish fetish, surfer art from the 60s, like Dan Flavin and all these like colorful resin artists and lowrider cars and the Rose Parade. Right?
And it's interesting, the idea of bringing such a personal experience and lens to the work, which ultimately is for other people. From my perspective, how I interact with clients and how I create a work expressing myself and my history and manifesting something that's inspiring and suitable really for them. You also do design a lot of products that are ultimately something for someone else. And that's where I think this sort of artist and designer dynamic can be really exciting.
You can't tell anybody else's story, but what you can do is you can contextualize your own story and acknowledge that we're all part of the same story. So anything that I've felt, other people know that feeling. They've just gotten there through a different experience. So if I can really look at my experiences through the correct lens, then I can get to a universal truth of the feeling that came out of it. And I can try to put that into the pieces that somebody puts into their home.
This idea of sort of bringing meaning to the work. I mean, I'm sitting today in my house. Normally I would do this at my studio. I mean, it's certainly a place to experiment, design ideas. Something about the energy here really activates me as an interior designer. Sense of place is so rooted in that meaning and spirituality.
All the spaces that we inhabit like have a spiritual layer to them in the same way that they have a color palette. I try as much as possible to to be in nature, next to nature. All the information is there, right? But then when I was honest with myself about where my natural talents had always laid, it was in creating beautiful things. It's not about showing off my intellect. It's about recognizing that in nature, beauty serves a function. And I always wanted to make objects that you didn't need to know anything about in order to love. I shied away from heavy industrial design and moved into luxury, because that's definitely a place where one of the indications of having done a good job is how magical an object feels. It's a mess that way.
Is it like a good mess? Yeah.
Paintings still need to be hung. My IKEA shelves are a mess. A bunch of toys and other artworks. One of my sculptures there.
How people live. This is what people want to see, that things need to be hung and that it's never finished.
I didn't check what was on my shelves. I hope nothing illicit. A lot of Pez dispensers. I have a 4-year-old, and these things are like an obsession.
Oh my gosh.
When everything is done, this is going to be basically a fantasy land. Like, I'm still a child, 100%.
Thank you again so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm glad that we got to meet.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I love this.